Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas. And today I have with me Karina Plis. I always mispronounce the last name. How's it pronounced?
It's Plis.
Plis, who is now a surety manager at Surety Bonds LLC. And today's conversation is very much a career conversation, which is very, very interesting. So a little background. So first of all, thank you for joining me today. We're both here. We're both here in Atlanta. 2 days after it snowed, which is crazy for Atlanta. Almost never snows. And so I ran into Karina at the CPCU In-2-Risk, what used to be the annual meeting. This last year, she had just finished her CPCU. She also have her AFSB, or the Associate in Finance Surety Bonds. Makes sense for a surety person. And what struck me about Karina is not only do I rarely run into surety people, but she's passionate about surety as a career in the same way that I'm passionate about general insurance as a career. So she suggested doing the podcast, and I 100% big fan of it. So Karina, it's your podium. I'll ask questions, but how did you fall into surety, and why is it a great career?
Well, surety, 100% of people, I would say 99.9% of people who fell into surety fell there on accident. And I think, and I'm no exclusion, I basically graduated college and needed a job, and this was the best offer, so that's where I went. And I'm happy with my career choice pretty much every day. And that's the reason why I wanted to talk about surety, because every time I go anywhere, I'm pretty much the only surety person, and everybody has so many questions. And there are so many people on broker or agency side and on carrier side who potentially already have the skill set to transition into the surety career. Just like insurance, we're an aging industry and also an industry in need of diversity. So I just wanted to tell people, hey, surety is really, really fun.
So for those that are not yet CPCUs, and might not yet have been exposed to the surety side, what exactly is surety? So what little I know about surety is that it's kind of insurance, but at the same time, we're not insuring against a loss happening. We're insuring against something that you said would happen not happening.
Yes.
Right. So it's kind of backwards from the rest of insurance. And also the other thing that I know, years and years ago, back when I ran Nationwide's Young Professional Resource Group, I had a speaker, an internal speaker, and he was from the surety area. And I always asked every speaker the same question: what is it you look for when you're hiring a new person, right? And the majority of speakers that I asked that to said CPCU. It would really helps. This particular person said, yeah, CPCU is fine, but an accounting background would be a lot more important than surety. And that was kind of mind-blowing to me of how different it is. So anyway, what is surety from the perspective of somebody who actually does it every day?
Surety, it's more of an insurance / credit product. We'll basically guarantee you, if you come to me and say, hey, Karina, I want to, I don't know, build a house for my friend. And your friend wants to be 100% sure that you're capable of doing so. So you come to me and ask me to issue a little piece of paper named bond that you give to your friend. And that piece of paper pretty much guarantees that you will perform as agreed on. And if you don't, the surety will step in and perform for you. So that's just the gist of it.
So if you don't perform, you the insurance company that sold you that bond pays not you, but pays the third party that
Yeah.
you bought the bond to. And it sounds silly because of the example that you really brought it down to earth, but in the construction space especially,
Yeah.
it's absolutely like required for the commercial construction space to work.
Not on commercial. Well, sometimes I see it more and more that commercial space is adopting it, but in commercial space, usually lenders are require it. But in government, basically any contract over 150,000 by Miller X is required to be bonded.
Okay, which is just about anything like bigger than a
Yeah.
house, right?
And I wish I'm from Russia. I wish we had bonding because our country would have flourished and our roads would have been better, because every year we'll lay asphalt right before the ice starts, icing up on the roads and it all cracks. And next year we'll do the same thing.
I'm from Costa Rica originally. We don't have the problem of snow, but we do have the problem of really crappy roads. And highways take forever to build. So it's kind of same story. I wish we had the bonding that we have here in the States. To give you an idea, there's a highway that's quite important for Costa Rica because it connects the city, which is in the center of the country, to the coast, to the beach. And we have, a ton of beautiful beaches where there's a lot of tourism for those beaches.
Mm-hmm.
So not only for the locals, but the tourists land in the airport in the center of the country and then drive or take a bus or whatever. That drive to the ocean, when I was a kid, it used to take at least 3 hours going over the mountain. With really crappy roads, and it's really not far away. It's just the roads are really crappy and they go over the mountain. So there's a highway that was planned to connect going around the mountains, making it a 45-minute drive. So economically, this is fantastic for the country, right?
Yeah.
That highway was supposed to be finished in 1978. There was there was a 12-mile piece of it, 12 miles. That was not completed until 2010. 30
Sounds about right.
Right? But that's the developing world for you. But we're here in the developed world. Okay. So you talked about how the surety and bond space, like insurance, has this aging workforce and the lack of diversity in it. And so I'm going to take a wild guess that, especially because it's deeply related to construction, I'm sure I know there are other types of bonds, but that's kind of the most common bond, if I'm not mistaken, my understanding, right? Because it's related to construction, I'm guessing that it's even more heavily male and even more heavily like white older male than the rest of insurance.
Possibly, yes. Probably. I don't hang out as much at insurance conventions. But I've been in CPCU convention and then a couple other events. And yes, I feel like we're the least diverse industry in the insurance space, period.
I think inland marine has similar problems, but okay. So how? And again, my audience is a lot of people who are already in insurance, from insurance executives to very young insurance people. Some of them carrier side, some of them broker side. How do you make a move towards surety? And number two, how do you best prep yourself? My understanding is that an accounting background is even more important than an insurance background. So how does one get a job in surety?
So basically, if you can pass the CPCU 540, you're good to go. I mean, accounting background is good, but a lot of times it comes with some bad habits. It's not that complicated. Let's put it this way. If you're an underwriter and you're capable of underwriting, most likely you can learn additional skills. basically, accounting is not the only thing you need to know. Surety is based on character, capacity, and capital. And I would say character is the first one, and that's not a skill you can, just kind of learn. It's, are you good with people? Can you go into a meeting and chat with a person and kind of like, yes, this person is trustworthy. This person will do what they say. And it's, the hardest thing to underwrite for. Capital, that's your financial underwriting. And a lot of underwriters already look at finances. It's really not that complicated. Does the client have the money? Does the client know how to manage them? Do they keep any money in the company, or they just spend it on boats?
So character, capacity, and
yes.
what's the final characteristic?
Well, capital I just talked about, and capacity is the last one I talked about. Is can this client perform the job they want to perform?
This is very interesting because I've never heard of underwriting character. That is very, 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 very interesting, and it makes sense. Normally, like I'm a former middle market underwriter, and before that I was a farm underwriter, and I basically, as either of those, I'm concerned with your operations being safe, which we can send a loss control person to go look at them. I'm concerned about your loss history, and if it's middle market, you've had some losses, and I'm concerned about getting the right rate for that risk, right? And about my agency relationship. Never had to think about the character of the leaders of the organization or the owners of the organization that I'm dealing with. So that is very, very interesting. So that makes me think that surety is kind of the poker of the insurance games, which I've got right, because like like blackjack, and I'm not a gambler, but blackjack, it's a mathematical decision. There is a mathematically best play for any set of cards you have, and whatever card the dealer is showing. In poker, there isn't. In poker, math plays a big piece of it, but you have to learn to read the bluff, right?
Yes.
In most casino games, the dealer can't lie to you, right? The dealer has what they have. And right, blackjack's a perfect example. If they have a card bigger than a 7, they're not going to hit it, and if they have less than a 7, they have to hit. They don't have a decision, right? And you know that. In poker, your fellow players can bluff, right? So I think that's how you should, you and any other organizations within the surety space that are trying to attract new talent, I think that's how you guys should market yourselves within insurance, the poker of the insurance space.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I'll keep that in mind. I'm sure we're going to need people down the road for my company. And, I think I hear someone asking for a new employee pretty much almost every other day. Hey, do you know anyone?
So
and it would be good.
Because of that need to read people and to get a feel for their character, is surety going back to in-person meetings faster than the rest of insurance, or is it still heavily Zoom based during the COVID era?
So trying to think, what should I disclose? Technically, it's supposed to be all a lot of the meetings were supposed to be over Zoom calls, but a lot of harder conversations were definitely in person, especially we're discussing some difficult decisions that clients want to make, stretch on their program. So yeah, I think maybe, yes, we definitely probably went into person faster.
Now that you're at a small company, you probably don't have, like back in your time at a giant broker and before that at a giant carrier, then yes, they have strict COVID rules, right? And probably will for a significant amount of time. your new small company is probably much more comfortable with you meeting in person. So is surety a local game? What I mean by that is, so you're here in Atlanta. Uh, are you very largely focused, and even in your last role back at the carrier as an underwriter, because I forgot to say that, right? You've done both underwriting and
Yes.
now you're on the agency side specifically for surety. So you've kind of played both sides. So were you dealing, especially in the carrier side, were you dealing mostly with Atlanta bonds, Atlanta-based companies, or was it kind of from everywhere, or did you have a territory that was far away?
Well, all over the place. So when I was with the giant broker, it was national, but a lot of clients were local. When I was with the carrier, it was the entire Southeast pretty much.
Oh, okay.
And now, yeah.
So Southeast, go ahead.
Yeah. And now pretty much I'm trying to be a little bit more national level. And we need to move into that space. The surety is also aged in terms of technology, and some of the underwriting tactics that worked maybe 50 years ago, these days are just not, they don't make sense.
Okay.
So
are you seeing technology being invested in, like are there insurtechs specifically focusing on surety? Because I've had like 150 insurtech founders on the podcast, and I can't remember a single one that was focused on surety.
Yes, precisely. We're trying to do something in our company internally. I've seen companies trying to do something internally, large companies, and pretty much falling on their face and wasting money. And we're all trying, but it's really bad.
Okay, so it would be fair to say that if you're in insurance and you dream of someday launching your own insurtech, surety is an opportunity-rich area that has not been targeted yet.
Correct. If you're a software engineer and you want to occupy a very a space where there's not a lot of competition, you should call me and we'll come up with something brilliant.
Okay. How does surety pay compared to the rest of insurance? Is it similar? Is it better?
I think it's similar. I'm just trying to think, I know we're not supposed to discuss salary, but I do talk to my friends in insurance. I think it's very, on the podcast,
you're more than welcome to talk salary. So it's okay.
It is similar. It is definitely similar. I feel like there's a lot more room for faster advancement if you're an active person.
Okay, why is that?
Less of a worker pool, much less of a worker pool.
Okay, so very similar. So in my experience, the reason it's easy to grow within the overall insurance world, if you realize it's a great career and you get the right advice, get CPCU, do some networking, the kind of thing that I'm always talking about. It's actually quite easy to grow within insurance because there's a smaller worker pool, right?
Yeah.
So nobody grows up wanting to work in insurance. So it sounds like surety is similar within the insurance world. It's kind of same story. Within insurance, people don't know about surety. Even the ones that are committed to an insurance career haven't committed to a surety career. So there's just as much or more opportunity to grow, because quite simply you become specialized in something that is needed, and very few people have the skills.
Correct. So it's correct. It's similar to insurance, but even more so. I talk to my friends looking for a job, for example, and they might have 3 opportunities. Well, they have more opportunities, but the one that they really, really like. In surety, you'll have a lot more, and people will be fighting for you.
Oh, that's fantastic. So what that sounds to me is very much like the people who were risk management majors or RMI majors in college, and they graduate, and it's like a feeding frenzy. They get multiple offers. And that doesn't tend to happen anywhere else in insurance. So for people like me who did not go to school for RMI, so if you're a young insurance professional, just starting in your career, and you did not have the good luck of coming through RMI, you can kind of create that same demand for your talents and multiple offers to choose from by getting some surety experience.
Precisely. And it's, it's not that hard to really you get the gist of it and learn it. It's just kind of understanding the pattern of it. Everything is pretty much up for negotiations. And I call it playing the Tetris game. You pretty much have a whole bunch of pieces, and you have to make sure that they all fit. And if you make them fit, you can make it work. And as soon as you go ahead.
Go ahead and finish your thought. As soon as you what?
And as soon as you kind of fit the Tetris all together, you're pretty much irreplaceable.
Okay, so you're Russian originally, and you used a checkers example. Shouldn't you have used a chess example? Isn't chess like the national sport of Russia, or at least like Russia dominated chess for like most of the 20th century? It's just funny to have you use a checkers example. I do think, if I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong on this, but I do think the creator of Tetris was also Russian. So that particular.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say I'm not sure. I need to Google that real quick.
I just Wikipedia'd it. The creator of Tetris was definitely Russian. So I'm impressed with my nerd knowledge on that one.
You know a lot.
So the Tetris reference is perfect, but the checkers one was funny, coming from a Russian. It's like me being Costa Rican talking about curling instead of soccer. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It was just funny. Okay, so what was AFSB, the Associate in Finance and Surety bonds, from the institutes? It's one of the ones that I don't have because I have I don't like math. But did you get that one before CPCU, and how was it compared to CPCU?
Correct. So the two exams in AFSB are CPCU 530 and 540. Yeah, I think so. So once you have CPCU, you just have to take 3 more exams and you're pretty much done. The first exam is easy. The 2 consequent ones, one talks about contract, construction, surety, and another one is commercial. How were they? I would compare commercial one to 530 in terms of just learning and memorizing, because it's a lot of legal stuff, and contract is financial, pretty much. It's not that bad. You can do it. If you did CPCU, you can do AFSB. Okay, but both of them are useful.
Okay, and if AFSB by itself, is it likely to get you at least an interview for the surety underwriting role you're looking at, or not as much as CPCU?
I think yes, AFSB is definitely would give you a leg up. CPCU gives a lot of concepts in the CPCU are similar to concepts in AFSB. Pretty much, it's finding risks and mitigating them.
Okay.
Just different ways, different ways of looking at it. But if you're looking for a career in surety, having AFSB is definitely a huge leg up.
Perfect. That's the advice that I've given people in surety who call me for career advice for years, is get your AFSB. But I think you're the first person I run into that actually hasn't. So I'm glad to hear that was not bad advice. So yeah, very interesting.
Well, kind of anything institutes can't be a bad advice.
That's my feeling too. One last question: Are there any Are there any organizations within the surety side that are worth taking a look at beyond the CPCU Society? Like, is there like a surety underwriters
Yeah.
organization, or what
Yes,
are the organizations to look at?
There are plenty. So this year, I'm going to be a president of Surety Association of Georgia. That's a great organization to be a part of. There are a lot of, pretty much everyone is there in surety business. Each state and sometimes couple of states combined have their own association. So whatever state on, you can reach out to them and see if you can volunteer on a board or something. Then there's a National Association of Surety Bond Producers. They're great organizations with a lot of educational opportunities and a lot of volunteer opportunities. And then there's Surety and Fidelity Association of America. They pretty much all things legal. They're also great organizations to reach out to.
Okay, fantastic. I have not had anybody from any of those organizations on the podcast. It's truly, you're the first surety person. 100 and I don't know 70 episodes or something. You're the first surety person.
Well, that's why I wanted to come and say, hey, we're here.
So yes, I am more than open to have somebody from the National Surety, from either of the big organizations, come and talk about what you guys do. More than happy. Reach out. If you're connected to Karina, have her introduce you. Otherwise, just reach out directly. And awesome. Very, very, very interesting. I knew very little about bonds and much less the career side of surety. So thank you so much for coming on. And I hope to have more surety people in the future, diversify the show more.
Yes, please. We need to show everyone that surety is a great industry to be in with lots of opportunities. That's awesome. The career to choose.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.